The first week of the wedding had passed. But in that poor thatched house no one treated it as something already finished. On the contrary, after days that seemed peaceful on the surface, an unspoken order quietly took shape. No need to say it aloud, the three brothers all understood. This week belonged to Qin Feng. Dinner that evening passed in silence. Not a heavy silence, but a different kind, like when everyone has already accepted something obvious, with no need for further discussion. The two younger brothers cleared the bowls and chopsticks earlier than usual. When the oil lamp was lit in the main room, they voluntarily withdrew to the outer room. Before leaving, the second brother cast Qin Feng a quick glance, no teasing, no probing, and said softly, "Eldest brother. This week, just rest assured." Nothing was spelled out, yet everyone understood. Qin Feng stood still for a moment. Only after the outer door closed did he slowly head toward the inner room. His hand clenched, then relaxed. His heartbeat was steady but heavy, not from nervousness, but from a very real sense of anticipation. He had never imagined that he would look forward to a night like this. Inside the room, Sumayan was already seated by the bed. The oil lamp cast a warm glow over her face, softening every line. No makeup, nothing elaborate, yet there was a quiet allure that could not be ignored. She lifted her head when he entered. Their gazes met. No questions. No confirmation needed. From that moment, Qin Feng knew she accepted his presence, not out of duty but because she allowed it. He closed the door. The sound was soft, but inside his heart it rang clearly, as if another door had just shut, separating the outside world from this place. This week. He spoke first, his voice low and slow. The three of us have agreed. This week is mine. Sumayan nodded, her expression calm. I know. Just those two words made Qin Feng's heart settle, in an inexplicable way. No suspicion, no doubt, no need for explanation. That trust made him unconsciously want to stand a little straighter. That night, Qin Feng was the one who took the initiative. Not a reckless surge of desire, but a deliberate kind of initiative, restrained and controlled. He guided every rhythm, every pause, as if testing each step to be sure she was comfortable. At times when emotion surged too quickly, he forced himself to slow down, to breathe, to keep hold of his reason. Yet the more he restrained himself, the more he realized something that startled even him. Hand pointing right with back of hand, showing he liked this feeling. Not merely physical closeness, but the fact that beside her, his mind was no longer stretched tight by the past. The memories of being shackled, beaten, called a criminal slave, seemed to be pushed far away. There was only the present. Only her. At one moment, he clearly felt that he did not want to let go. The hand resting on her tightened slightly, then loosened again, as if he were struggling with himself. He did not let her take the lead, not because he did not want to, but because he feared that if he did he would lose control completely. The closeness lingered unbroken, unhurried. The night grew deep and quiet, filled only with mingled breaths, slow and enduring. When everything finally settled, Qin Feng lay on his side, looking at Sumayan's face as she slept. The oil lamp had gone out, only pale moonlight filtered through the narrow window. In that moment, he suddenly felt his face heat up. Not from physical embarrassment, but from realizing he had fallen for her. And for someone who had once sworn to live only for responsibility, this was no small change. The next morning, Qin Feng woke very early. The sky was not yet fully bright. Dean had just brushed the edge of the mountains. He opened his eyes, feeling an unusual lightness. No soreness, no fatigue. His body felt as if it had been cleansed after a long, deep sleep. He turned his head. Sumayan was still asleep. But something was different. Her skin seemed smoother, her complexion rosier, her features softer than before. Not a sudden change that frightened the eye, but a natural allure, like life itself was gradually becoming whole. Qin Feng watched her for a long time. There was no suspicion in his heart, only a vague sense as if this change was connected to last night, to a harmony he had never experienced before. He gently pulled the blanket up over her, moving so carefully he almost didn't touch her. Then he quietly got up, dressed, and went outside. In the courtyard, the two younger brothers were already awake. One was chopping wood, the other tending the fire. When Qin Feng appeared, both of them stopped almost at the same time. Not because he had changed too much, but because of his presence. His posture was straight, shoulders open, step steady. His eyes were calm yet sharp, no longer carrying the exhaustion that had clung to him through years as a criminal slave. His body seemed nearly fully restored. The two exchanged a glance. No one spoke, but they shared the same conclusion. Hand pointing right with back of hand showing this wedding week had not changed just one person. Qin Feng nodded to them as usual, rolled up his sleeves and began working. His movements were clean and decisive. Yet deep in his gaze something had changed, no longer just responsibility, but willing attachment. He knew it clearly. This week, and perhaps the weeks to come, he no longer stood beside Sumayan merely out of obligation, but because he wanted to. The sky had just begun to brighten. Thin sunlight slipped through the gaps in the thatched roof, falling on Sumayan's face. She slowly opened her eyes. For a brief moment, still unable to tell dream from reality, she only felt her body light, her breathing smoother than it had been in days. This body was changing. Not vaguely, clearly. As soon as she was fully awake, the familiar, cold yet steady voice sounded in her consciousness. Ding! Husband Qin Changfeng. Favorability +15. Loyalty +20. The other two husbands. Loyalty slightly increased. Sumayan was not startled. Since last night she had already sensed the change in Qin Changfeng, not duty, not endurance because of status, but initiative, restraint, and an inability to let go. She closed her eyes, breathing slowly. The system continued. Bond level reached, stage 2. Reward activated. Appearance +1. Temperament +1. Host now meets conditions. Restore appearance and temperament to age 18. Confirm. Without hesitation. Confirm. The instant the thought ended, a warm current of spiritual energy flooded her limbs and bones. Not violent. Not painful. Like an underground spring flowing through her body, washing away the exhaustion accumulated over years. Her lungs no longer felt tight, her throat no longer dry, her chest no longer heavy with the sensation that once made her cough blood. Her skin warmed. Her bones felt reforged. Sumayan could clearly sense that this body was returning to the peak state of 18, not an illusion, but true reconstruction. At that moment, the system sounded again. Spiritual energy accumulated through breathing dual cultivation has reached threshold. Wood element ability. Beginner intermediate. Confirm upgrade. The corner of Sumayan's lips curved. Yes. Boom. Pure wood element energy erupted in her dantian, then spread rapidly through her meridians. Unlike the suppressive nature of local cultivation energy, wood element power was gentle, regenerative, brimming with life. She felt it clearly, her heartbeat steadier, her breathing deeper. Even her blood vessels seemed nourished. In her consciousness, vague images surfaced: seedlings breaking soil, roots digging deep, life cycling endlessly. Wood element intermediate. Not explosive power, but the foundation of life. The system gradually fell silent. The small room returned to quiet. Sumayan sat up, looking down at her hands. Her skin was fairer, her joints slender, no trace of the trembling weakness of a body near death. She got up and changed into clean, coarse cloth. When she stepped outside, morning sunlight fell directly over her. In the courtyard, Qin Changfeng was already up, chopping wood with steady movements, his posture straight. Hearing footsteps, he turned instinctively and froze. For a moment, he could not speak. Not because she was too different, but because she was exactly right. She was still her, yet her aura had completely changed. Fair skin, slender wrists, clear yet deep eyes, a soft but unfragile figure. As if from her very bones she was a young woman. Qin Changfen quickly lowered his head, his voice deep. "My lady." Just 2 words. Yet something trembled quietly in his heart. He did not ask, nor dare to ask. He only felt last night had not been a dream, and the woman before him was someone he could never allow anyone else to touch. The 2 younger brothers came out one after another. Qin Changying halted the moment he saw Su Maian. "My lady." Qin Changyun widened his eyes, opened his mouth, then hurriedly looked at the eldest brother, as if to confirm he wasn't seeing things. But what shocked them even more was Qin Changfeng. Straighter back, broader shoulders, a calm solid aura, no longer weighed down by years of depletion. Even his gaze was sharper, like a general slowly reclaiming himself. Qin Changying frowned. "Eldest brother." "You." Qin Changfeng only shook his head. "I'm fine." No explanation. No need for one. Su Maian looked at the 3 of them, calculations already clear in her mind. Life as it was had to change. She spoke, calm yet decisive. "Today, I'm going to town." All 3 looked at her. Immediate goals. She raised one finger. First, repair the house. Second, buy enough food. Third, buy seeds. Fourth, her gaze lingered on them, one simple set of clothes for each of you. No one objected. No one doubted. Because from the moment she stepped out into the morning light, they all understood one thing. Hand pointing right with back of hand showing this woman was no longer a poor old lady waiting to die. Hand pointing right with back of hand, showing she was the one who would lead them out of the mud step by step to change their fate. The early wind stirred the thatched roof, creaking softly. A new life had officially begun.